Okay, the next project we're going to do are these really cool, delicate tissue paper banners. They're called, in Spanish, they're called Papel Picados. Papel means paper, and picado means that it has little holes. So you can see there's a few different designs here. If you've ever made one of those snowflakes where you fold up the paper and then cut some designs into it and then unfold and then you have a snowflake, this project is similar to that. I think it's a little bit easier though because we're just cutting into really thin tissue paper. So what you're gonna need is a couple sheets of tissue paper, a couple rectangles. If you want to do one at a time, you can, but this tissue paper is so thin that it works really well to do 2 or 3 at a time. So grab a couple pieces of tissue paper, you'll need a pair of scissors, and if you would like, you can get something to draw with, but that is not required. And then at the end, once you have a few different banners cut out, you'll want to find the string in your kit and a glue stick, and we will glue them onto the string so that you can hang them up and display them. Now these banners are part of Dia de los Muertos because they're so delicate. They're kind of a reminder as the wind is blowing through them, and sometimes they get a little messed up from the wind, but it's a reminder that our lives are precious and delicate too. And they look really cool hanging up around a party or at a festival. So hopefully you'll enjoy making this, and you can hang some up around your house or in your room, or even make some tiny little miniature ones for your ofrenda. So what you're gonna do to start here is you're gonna take your rectangle, and you should have kind of the long side facing you. And I want you to fold it in half right down the middle. So just like this. Okay, kind of line up your edges there before you smush it down. Once your edges are lined up, you can crease it. Okay, just like that. Now you're gonna do that same thing again. You're gonna fold it in half again right down the middle here. So bring this edge over to this one, line them up. Whenever you are folding, like same thing like if you were doing origami, it's really important to take your time and really pay attention to lining up your edges. So see there, I lined them up, and now I can squish. Okay, so you should have a long skinny rectangle like that. Next thing we're gonna do is fold in half this way, but instead of going all the way up to the edge, we're not gonna quite line up these edges. We're gonna leave a little bit sticking off the top. So you can see I folded it up, but I didn't go all the way to the top. I went to about there, okay? And it doesn't have to be exact. We just wanna leave a little bit left over at the top. That's gonna help us have a little leftover tab to glue around our string later. Okay, so your paper should look a little something like that. Now, once we get to this step, this is where we'll get to the cutting. If you would like, you could take that, remember I said the something to write with was optional. You can take a pen or pencil and draw some simple designs onto your paper. Okay, the important thing with the designs is that they need to be pretty simple, and they need to start on the edge and finish on the edge. So see how this kind of triangle shape, it started over here, went in, and then came back to the edge, okay? If you don't want to draw, that's fine. You can just get your scissors and start cutting in a few very simple shapes, okay? Sometimes people like to try to draw lots of really tiny little detailed drawings on here and try to cut them out. The drawings are great, but I'll just tell you that it's really hard to cut out really detailed things. So stick to simple designs and I promise it will look really cool. Okay, same thing here. My design started at the fold and came back to the fold. I'm gonna do kind of a, you can just make it up as you go along. One really important thing that I need to mention also is that you want to leave some of your folds. So see here, I cut out some of it, but I left this and I left this. Okay, there's some fold left there. Same thing over here. I cut out this part, but I left some fold here and some fold here. On this side, I cut here, but I left some fold. Okay, if we cut off the whole side, then our flag will just totally come apart. Okay, so make sure you leave a little bit of fold. If you have a hole punch at home, they are kind of fun to use for this project. You can punch some holes. And again, it doesn't need to be super complicated, your design. It can be really simple. You don't have to draw anything in particular. Here I just did a few little shapes and some dots. And then once you have a few things cut, it is time to open it up and reveal. I did 2 at a time, so here's my other one. Check that out. Isn't that cool? Okay, so you can see there was my little circle I cut at the bottom. Here was my little triangle. It turned into sort of a square since it was on the fold. There's all my dots. And remember, we left a little bit at the top. See all this space at the top? That was because we didn't fold it all the way up. So that's where our string will go in a little bit. Okay? So now's a good time. You can pause. I want you to experiment with your cutting designs. You can even experiment with your folding. I want you to keep in mind that sometimes they don't turn out exactly like you thought they would. Sometimes they turn out even better. It's kind of a surprise every time. I really like this project. I like to just cut things and then just see what happens, okay? If it doesn't work out exactly right, it's no big deal. It's just tissue paper. You can just fold another one and try again. It's all kind of an experiment. All right, once you have a bunch of different banners cut out, Papel Picados, you can gather them up, and you'll also need a glue stick and find your string. And we will get these hung up onto a string so we can display them at a party or at our house. So what you need to do to each of your banners is you are going to just fold over the top here. Just a little bit. Remember we had that extra at the top, extra space. So just fold it over like that and then open it back up. Rub some glue into that fold line. Lay your string across. Now this is a step that's really good for 2 people because it helps to have one person hold down the string just like this on each side and then another person to fold over the paper. I'm going to try to do it all by myself, but this is a good step to have some teamwork. So if you're working as a family, this is something you guys can help each other with. Mine didn't get super smooth, but that's okay. Okay, and just like that. And so now that string is trapped inside there, inside the fold, and it's ready to be hung up. Okay, I would go right next door and do another one. So I'd have a whole row of banners. I'm gonna put that string right there, fold it over and glue, and so I'd have a whole row of them. All right, if you want to add some skull-shaped banners to your design. You've done a bunch of rectangles that are really cool and have lots of fancy designs in, but I want to show you how to do these skulls. It's really, really simple. You need to find your skull kind of tracing template that's in your kit, and then grab a piece of tissue paper, or you can do more than one at once. If you want to stack up a couple layers, that's fine. And then you're just going to fold it in half. Okay, and then you place that skull half right along the fold line. So here's my fold over here, and I'm going to put this half a skull right against that fold line. Then you'll take something to write with and just trace around this guy. Okay, so I went around the outside. I'm going to trace the eye. I'm going to trace this nose shape and this mouth. Ooh. Okay, and this little thing up here is kind of important. That's going to give us a little tab to fold around our string. So make sure you get that little extra piece sticking off the top of the head there, okay? All right, so once you have it traced, you just cut her out and open it up. I told you it was simple. This is really good cutting practice for everybody. Just a quick cutting lesson. When you are cutting something roundish, or really when you're cutting anything, your cutting hand, so the hand that holds the scissors, it might be your right hand or your left hand, but the hand that has your scissors should stay. Your scissors aren't gonna move around a whole lot like this, okay? Your scissors should stay in one place, and the stuff that you're cutting is what's gonna move. So watch here, my scissors are staying still, and I'm gonna turn my paper to get that roundish shape there. Okay. Get all of these face parts cut out. And since we are cutting through 2 layers with a line right down the middle, we're gonna have a nice symmetrical skull. Means it's the same on both sides. You could split it right down the middle. All right, almost there. Let's get this eyeball. Here we go. There's our half a skull, and there it is. Isn't that awesome? So if you want to add it to your string, that's what this little tab is. You just give it a fold, put some glue in there, put the string in, and stick it down. If you would like to add some of these Papel Picados to your ofrenda, you can try making some, starting with a really small piece of tissue paper. So you could just cut one of these into a smaller rectangle to start with, but you'll just do the exact same thing, just on a small scale. So fold and fold. Maybe you won't fold as much. Maybe it'll just be like that. And cut a couple shapes in and see what comes out. This is a good way to make little bitty ones. Or if you would like, check that out. So those look kind of cool. Or if you'd like, you could even take one of your big ones and just cut it apart. And then you have a bunch of little ones. So you could hang those up inside your ofrenda box. I think they look really cool. And then they're a reminder of, they represent the wind, and they're a reminder of how delicate and precious our lives are. So hope you enjoy. Do some experimenting and have a good time.